Welcome to the ACC Panic Room alongside Lauren Brownlow. I'm Joe Ovies. We're in our respective media headquarters ahead of the Final Four meeting between Duke and Carolina. I feel bad. I'm not going to lie. I feel bad for Villanova and Kansas, Lauren, because a couple days on Radio Row, I don't think anybody was talking about that matchup. Nobody at all. And it's entirely possible that either team could win a national championship.
I think a lot.
It's funny that Duke and Carolina's taken all the vibe.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things too, where it reminds me a little bit of where Carolina was in the second game against Duke, right? Like going into it, they weren't part of the storylines. Like they were not part of the focus. I mean, even after they did it, they weren't. Like there were like 6 people in that press conference. And I know there's been more for Kansas and Villanova. And look, I mean, we've both been walking around. I've seen a good amount of Villanova fans. I've been surprised at how many Villanova fans I've seen actually. There's a pop-up shop for Villanova stuff at my hotel. It's not even the team hotel. It's not the fan hotel. Nothing. Like, I'm just like, okay. So, yeah, like they're here living it up. We got some Kansas people here, too. I'm sure we'll see more of them tonight. But, they're all here. They're ready for the game. And they're going to just be completely fine to fly under the radar, just like Carolina before that second game. They don't have to deal with the attention and the buzz or anything like that. They can just play and then look forward to getting whoever they're going to get tomorrow, and likely a worn-out team physically and emotionally.
Well, we'll get to that in a second, because I'm curious what you've picked up on at the press conferences on Friday. So on Radio Row, it's the convention center, it's the coaches coming through and everything else. And for the most part, it's been, from an outside perspective, it's been coaches impressed with how Duke has been able to just lock in following that Carolina loss and outside the ACC tournament and finally look like that team. And then a lot of credit has gone to Hubert Davis, where I don't think anybody – it's been interesting. It's like, after that Pitt loss, it was kind of like, where's this team going? And a lot of people have been giving credit to Hubert Davis. So that's been the perspective on Radio Row. In the press conferences themselves and talking with the players and the coaches, the impression from the outside is that Carolina seems to be a little bit more cool.
Yeah.
And Duke, we might be back to the whole farewell thing with K.
Yeah, I'm starting to get those vibes, and I'm frankly kind of surprised by it because, and I wrote about this a little bit yesterday for WRLSportsFan.com, like Duke got here because they stopped worrying about how their season would end. And I don't know if they are or aren't, but I do think we all know they wanted to play Carolina. We all understand why they're downplaying that they wanted to play Carolina. Yes. They're downplaying the fact that it's Carolina and everything else. But I do get the sense that there's some tightness there that's creeping back in. And it could be completely my imagination. And maybe it's more of a focus than a tightness. Who knows? But it feels different than it felt the last couple weeks, for sure, where it just feels like there's a little more, just a little more tightness. Maybe some of it might be too. Like yesterday I got in, it was their second day of media. Like at that point, they're tired of answering.
They're probably over it.
They're probably somewhat over it, but I did. It was a vibe I got for sure.
Yeah,
and it was actually really striking to hear Coach K say, I don't know that I'm going to talk to y'all again. And then before he said his whole like NCAA diatribe or whatever at his press conference yesterday, but he said that. He goes, I don't know if I'm ever going to talk to you guys again. And I think that's probably one of the first times I've heard him say anything like that. And that struck me because I think if they can remember sometime before the game that what got them here was being loose and relaxed and not worrying about how it's going to end, maybe it's because he can see that regardless of what happens, the end is here. Like it's coming. No matter what he does and what they do, they got 2 games left. He's got 2 games left at most. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, about the game, I guess we can finally discuss the game itself. I mean, I feel like the whole week's just been about storylines and everything else, but the actual game itself. If, I can make an argument for both teams, like I'm at the point now where, either outcome would not be a surprise, and certain things that would happen in that outcome would make a lot of sense, knowing what we know about Carolina and knowing what we know about Duke. Duke, I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous here. Duke's got the talent advantage. They got guys like Paolo Banchero and Trevor Keels and AJ Griffin and Jeremy Roach, who's come on. Mark Williams has also made himself a lot of money this postseason, the season, and especially this postseason. So if Duke's playing at its highest level, then I'm confident that Duke is going to be able to outdo Carolina in that regard. On the flip side of that, Carolina continues to have this man on a mission, unbothered, go punch first mentality, which we've seen throughout the NCAA tournament. Leaky Black, I think, has been under discussed as somebody who can change the nature of the game, because we've seen it in the Duke game at Cameron, and we've seen it in all the important games for Carolina going forward. I'd be curious to see how Hubert Davis utilizes him today against Duke.
My biggest thing for them, I guess I would guess he would shadow AJ Griffin around like he did in the second meeting. But then my question becomes, okay, we've seen how important Brady Manick is to UNC offensively. He didn't pick up any fouls guarding Paulo Banchero, at least if I read the box score correctly in that meeting in Cameron. But do they do that again? Do they put him on Banchero and hope for the best and just have him sort of try to get in the way and not get into foul trouble? Because if he gets into foul trouble, I think that completely changes the game for Carolina.
Looks like we're having a technical difficulty all of a sudden. It's the trouble of trying to do live panic rooms with cell phone technology. So either Lauren has gone MIA with the technology, or maybe I've gone some MIA with the technology. So that's going to wrap it up for this panic room. A little short. Hi, we're back. Anyway, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We'll see y'all later for the panic room immediately following the game from the Superdome. Hopefully we won't have any cell phone issues.